Hello, everyone. We are still in Module 2. We are marching along with our knowledge of Law of Attraction, and that's what we're going to continue today. So far, we have looked at Law of Attraction 101, getting ourselves in that high vibration, establishing our baseline, remember all of that. And then you experienced Lectio Divina, which I hope was a beautiful Christian practice for you, whether it was your first time or whether this is a long practice of yours, and this is something you can incorporate into your spiritual life. In this video, we will expand our knowledge and the application of the law of attraction. We are going to do three main things. One, look at the history of the law of attraction, especially in New Thought philosophy. We will look at Matthew 18 as an example of law of attraction in the Bible, although of course it wasn't called that because it's a new term. And then we are going to explore the role of prayer in the law of attraction. Throughout this whole program, we're going to explore prayer. We did that when we talked about our intuition. We will do it now, and we're finding new ways to pray all the time, which is really, really fun. All right, let's look at the law of attraction history just really quickly. So the law of attraction arose in what we call New Thought philosophy. And you can Google that and find out more about it. But this is a 19th century American-born philosophy. Lots of things were happening in the 19th century that were full of spiritualism and metaphysics, and people were really reaching to the outside spirit world around them. People were using stones and seers and all sorts of things like that to help them settle their spiritual lives. And so it was actually in this period that we see lots of American-born denominations and religious movements and philosophical movements spring up that are still in existence today, but in radically different forms. And so New Thought philosophy is found today in unity churches, in centers for spiritual living, and more loosely in Christian Science. Mary Eddy Baker did study with New Thought philosopher, and she says that the Christian Science denomination that she helped found does not use New Thought philosophy, but either way, whether it uses New Thought philosophy or rejects New Thought philosophy is partly responsible for helping found that really important Christian movement. Let's look at a few beliefs of New Thought philosophy. The first belief is that God is, in fact, everywhere. I know this seems very commonplace to you and I today because most Christians today believe that, of course, God is everywhere. God is omnipresent. We can't go anywhere where God is not. But believe it or not, that has not always been the case in Judeo-Christianity. They're not the first. This did not originate with New Thought philosophy, but it's an important contribution that has dispersed into the wider Christian circle and even beyond the Christian circle into metaphysics in general. New Thought philosophy also believes that all disease has origin in human thinking. All disease originates from a mental state that is diseased or diseased as the English origin of the word. And so in the 19th century, of course, people did not have knowledge of bacteria and viruses the same way that we do today. But I bet you know someone who has literally made themselves sick because of their worry, because of their anxiety, because of the way they think. I have visited more than one person in the hospital who literally gave themselves an ulcer because they were worried so much. Now, their worry may have had merit. Often it did. The situations were, in fact, serious. But that disease actually did originate from a mental state of anxiety. So not all disease does. When we catch a common cold, is that originating in our human thinking, or is that a virus we got? Well, you can decide for yourselves. And I think probably meeting somewhere in the middle is where most of us will come around. I just want to point out the extremes to which we can have disease originate in our thinking, and then also balance that with common sense and with new science. And of course, the law of attraction is a really important contribution of New Thought philosophy. And the term law of attraction was first coined in 1877. So in the 19th century, we see the origin of the law of attraction embedded in New Thought philosophy, but the law of attraction is very attractive, and it has new growth and manifestations for today outside of New Thought philosophy, but New Thought philosophy really has contributed very heavily to our understanding and our use of the law of attraction today. Let's now turn to the Gospel of Matthew and see what might be there that correlates with our understanding of the law of attraction. This is from Matthew 18:18. Truly I tell you, whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. This is a somewhat perplexing verse. Honestly, there's not a whole lot of research that's been done on it. It is covered in commentaries, but when I searched for actual individual articles about this verse, there were not very many. And so I think people are still wrestling with it. And people in biblical scholarship these days are very reluctant to talk about energy, to talk about the concept of energy in the ancient world or how that can be applied today. And of course, this verse has the capacity to be very abusive. It can be used very abusively, right? So people can say, I bind you and you'll never get into heaven or something like that. But that's not at all what this verse is talking about. But this word for binding and this word for loosing seem to indicate that in the ancient world, people believed that they had the power to affect things happening somewhere else beyond them, in heaven, whatever they called that, whether that was a dimension or whether that was an afterlife or it was where God literally dwelled. They believed that believers who had the strength could actually affect things that would happen in heaven and on earth. And of course, this very famous verse earlier in Matthew, again, the Sermon on the Mount, the beautiful gift that just keeps on giving. Ask and it will be given to you. Search and you will find. Knock and the door will be opened for you. Any of you that attended camp as a kid probably sang a nice slow version of this. But again, we have this concept of ask and we will be given to it. If we knock, we will find it, right? 3 metaphors here all in one: ask, find, and knock. And the idea seems to be that if we are using our prayerful selves, we will be granted our request. And again, this is always with the assumption that thy will be done, right? But I think that these 3 stories show that humans have the ability to affect our spiritual world around us. And we have the ability to do that in really profound ways. And so what I want to suggest to you is that the law of attraction is one way that we can affect the world around us very positively. And again, we're not doing this for selfish reasons. We're doing this to make our lives the fullest lives that they can be and to help us make the world the fullest world that it can be as well. I think you sense how important that is to me, because so often we take ourselves for granted and we do not believe that we are the powerful, powerful beings that we are. And you are a powerful being and you do have the power to affect the world around you in such great ways, ways that you're already doing and ways that will be revealed to you. Okay, so let's start to put this all together. We have a lot of things on the table. We have prayer, we have vibrations, we have the Bible, and now we have you, the prayer, the subject of all of this new material. And so what we want to do is find a way to put all of this together in a way that feels like it has integrity for you and your life. So just a reminder, prayer is vibrational energy. So we want to use the vibrations of our prayers and put that into conversation with the law of attraction and use some of those relevant Bible verses to give us some strength and some ideas for using the law of attraction. So I want to present the law of attraction on the left and prayer on the right, and we have this railroad track in the middle, and you have the 2 lines of the railroad track. So at the forefront of the picture, they are parallel, right? Law of attraction and prayer. They are not necessarily the same. We can use the law of attraction in our prayer life. We can use prayer when we're adhering to the law of attraction. But think of them more like a Venn diagram, and they share some space in the middle, but they're not actually identical. So not every prayer that you pray has to implicitly use the law of attraction. It doesn't. Some prayers might be a lament. You might not be using the law of attraction when you are offering a lament up to God. But when we are cultivating the energy around us and creating a new future for ourselves and for the world around us, we do want those intersections to be present and to be aware of them. Now, if you look down the railroad tracks, it looks like they come together at a certain point. And really, that's what we're after, that one day we don't have to distinguish necessarily between prayer and law of attraction because we become so practiced at it that it becomes more automatic for us. And one day these distinguishments won't matter quite as much. So what we've done today, we have explored the history of the law of attraction just briefly. We have seen some parallel examples in the Bible of the law of attraction, not really the law of attraction, but some predecessors to the law of attraction. And we've seen that we can put the law of attraction to work in our own prayer life. Again, not every prayer has to use the law of attraction, but they do have some overlap. In the next video, we are going to actually see how to use the law of attraction with angel cards. It's a lot of fun. I think you're going to really enjoy it. And so I will look forward to seeing you there.